Okay, first of all, I really like the slogan in Yiddish, beleuchten mit Klarkeit und Verstand.
Thank you.
So first of all, what is the difference between Klarkeit and Verstand?
Okay.
Did you ever think about that?
No, I did. I picked those two words. I believe that in most situations where people are suffering in general, I think what they're missing is clarity, and that's obscuring their vision. They can't have the proper understanding. What I try to offer people is clarity. When they're clear about something and they understand what it is that the problem really is, which many people don't see it that way, they get to a certain understanding of what the issue is now, which obviously enables them and gives them the tools and to be able to deal with it. So often it's the misunderstanding. I always say all suffering comes from misunderstanding, but you can't understand until you're clear about it. So I try to offer that clarity that helps people do the understanding and enables them to solve different problems that they're dealing with.
So clarity is not the same as understanding.
Well, the clarity is usually what you get from someone else who sees it clear.
And then the result is that you understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this because there's such a desperate need for both clarity and understanding when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
So anybody who's doing anything in that direction is, to be part of the solution and not be part of the problem is already. So, are the problems in relationships due to bad values or to personality traits, or both?
It's interesting. There's definitely a big puzzle of components that add to any difficulty, obviously, when people are struggling. I look at the personality behind the issues, the personality of the people involved, as basically the dynamics of what the person really is made of, and basically what the relationship is made up of. There could be so many other things that will influence how this relationship goes and how it ends up turning out, but I think it's all based on what the personality is. The example I give often in my classes is when the glass falls off the table, why does it break? Because it's glass, because it fell off the table. It wouldn't fall off the table, it wouldn't break, but so many things fall off the table and don't break. So understanding the people involved and who they are and what they're made up of will offer a lot of clarity as to why they were affected or why something bothered them or why they had a certain difficulty and they're struggling with something.
So it's not a moral problem.
I wouldn't say that. Obviously, when somebody has an issue with their values and other things that they weren't taught properly, it could definitely affect a relationship.
So that's a separate problem.
It's one of the components that could bring about a problem, but it's not the problem, I don't think.
Okay, so in your book, you focus on one particular personality trait that is problematic. Type that is problematic. What is that one?
You say the word problematic. I never use the word problematic, not because I'm trying to be politically correct, but because I don't think that anyone's a problem at all. There definitely is what I focus on, one personality type that finds itself, in difficulty time and again. But back to my analogy of the glass, which on the cover you see that glass idea. The glass is not problematic, right? It's the only thing that shatters. It's the only thing that's one of the only things that's fragile. It's one of the only things that will cut somebody when not dealt with care. But it's not problematic. I don't think anyone considers glass problematic. As a matter of fact, when you buy a chandelier, if it doesn't say fragile on it, your skin maybe is made of plastic. So I don't think fragility is problematic. But yeah, there is one personality type that I identified as being fragile and sensitive and more emotional than the others. And I found that to be a common denominator that was somewhat overlooked, by people that were dealing with fixing relationships and trying to help people who are struggling in relationships. There's so much help out there and so many ideas about relationships and good ideas about how to help situations and what caused them. I always felt there was a certain missing common denominator that would really cut across and make everything make sense. Make sense out of the madness. Now, it doesn't have to be that there is, but I always felt that maybe there's something there. When I started learning about personality assessment, just by hearing about it from different people and reading different books about how people are categorized, it hit me if you categorize it like this, which is what I offer in the book, basically it's like the happy-go-lucky component and the easygoing component and the aggressive go-getting component and then the fragile component, which all of us have all these components within ourselves. It's all about dominance and subdominance. When you categorize it like that, you'll come to a certain conclusion, which I noticed over time, that in every situation of relationship, interpersonal relationship, conflict or difficulty, there'll always be that one person who's reacting sensitively and emotionally to that difficulty.